Hello folks, and welcome to Formula One Paddock Pass, your pre-race edition for the 2019 Australian Grand Prix from here in Albert Park, Melbourne, Australia. Traditionally, a back-to-school vibe. The first day of the Formula One season always fills us with so much joy, and yet not today. Heavy hearts throughout the Formula One paddock. Because we lost Charlie Whiting overnight, and it's been a massive shock to everybody in the paddock. Charlie was the FIA race director, but he was so much more than that. He was the captain of the ship, if you like, a confidant, a tutor, a mentor, a teacher, a father figure to many in this paddock. He lived and he breathed not just Formula One, but motorsport. I have so many happy memories of him. Usually I'd have some ridiculous question about some very complicated F1 technical directive, and he'd always give me time, whether it was on the grid 5 minutes before he needed to get in the safety car and go and do his lap. He'd make time, or if you sent him an email, he'd make time. If you needed an interview, he'd make time. He'd always stop for a chat, and you always look forward to getting here on the first day of the season and searching him out and having a chat. Well, what have you seen in testing? What looks interesting? Is there anything that's a bit sketchy that's going to be, possibly illegal? And he'd always make time for you. And not just about Formula One either. Like, I remember somebody would send me a photograph of some fencing that they'd seen at an IndyCar race, and I'd take it to Charlie, and he'd say, we'll have to investigate that. When there were accidents or deaths in other series, Charlie would be looking at it. How could we make it better? How could we improve? Whether it was IndyCar or whatever it was, Charlie just lived and breathed racing and wanted to make it better, and it just feels perverse. They were talking about him in the past tense. Anyway, let's talk to some drivers about Charlie and what he meant and how much he will be missed in this paddock.
Shocked, especially because, I walked past of the track with him yesterday, joking, talking about the winter, about kids and family. So I think our thoughts are with them, mostly with the family. I don't think there's anything really for them that will ever replace that loss. So I think for us, all we can do is, remember him, his style, his passion for the sport, his passion for racing, and make sure he, in his way, stays around, and we keep him as part of this circus.
I have even seen him yesterday when we were going for a track walk. He was chatting with Seb, and I say, I will not interrupt, I will say hello on Friday's driver's briefing. And unfortunately, it will not happen. So it's really a sad moment, not only definitely for his close and family, but also for us. So, but that's how it is. Unfortunately, life can change very quickly, and we have to appreciate every day, every moment that we have opportunity actually to enjoy and to live.
I guess like everyone, it was just shock and no real. I guess when it comes so suddenly, it's like you want answers. It's like how, why. You heard he was at the track yesterday. Well, I heard he was at the track yesterday. I wasn't here, but so you hear that he was here, and Seb said he was walking the track with him. So. It's sad that it goes like that, but some memories are he had our back. We as drivers, we would give him a hard time a lot of the time because we would vent and complain, but as repetitive as we were, he always listened, and week in, week out, every Friday night we'd spend sometimes over an hour with him in a driver's briefing, just going through things. And but he was also, he listened, took the time, but that's because it's not because he had to, it's because he also cared for the sport, but cared for us drivers.
It was a big shock when they told me about Charlie passing away, especially because I spent a day with him in Geneva not too long ago, and we had a really good talk, and you expect him to be around for a bit longer. and of course to see him passing away at 66 years old is unbelievable. And yeah, I think that also makes you realize again that you have to be grateful for every day you're here.
I don't know what can you say. Obviously, it's a very sad thing to happen. It was great man. I mean, I always had a very good relationship with him, and I think generally he did an amazing job for F1 over all the years that he's been in it, and I think he kept us as drivers under control and behaving. You know, it's a sad thing, not just for racing and losing one main guy, but generally in life. Nobody wants these things, but unfortunately it's a part of the life, and it's a shame.
Some lovely words then from some of the drivers who felt able to talk to us today about the enormous hole that Charlie Whiting leaves in this sport, in this paddock, and our thoughts obviously are with his family at just the most impossibly difficult time. But Charlie, as I said, lived for his racing, and I'm sure were he here, he would say thank you for the lovely words, folks, but we have a race to run and a racing weekend to get underway. So let's get it underway. Let's get 2019 underway, as Charlie would, I'm sure, want. And what a season we have in front of us. Pre-season testing has been and gone and appears to show Ferrari in the ascendancy over Mercedes. 4/10 is what Mercedes seem to think after testing. Red Bull there or thereabouts with their new Honda partnership. Of course, we've got new drivers at new teams. Charles Leclerc at Ferrari, Pierre Gasly at Red Bull. Daniel Ricciardo's moved over to Renault. There's so much to talk about, so much excitement and intrigue in the 2019 season. So let's start. Shall we start with Ferrari? Let's start with Ferrari. The team that has had the best of the winter, that comes into this season as the odds-on favourites, not just for victory here in Australia, but potentially for the Constructors and Drivers' World Championships as well. And it won't necessarily be Sebastian Vettel that's the favourite, because with Charles Leclerc, the incredible rookie from last season, as his teammate, there are no certainties in this season. Sebastian Vettel then, Charles Leclerc, two Ferrari drivers gunning for ultimate glory in 2019. Looking towards the racing, as Charlie absolutely loved his racing. How much are you looking forward, not just to this weekend, but to this season? Does it feel like a new start for you and for the team after what's been a brilliant winter?
Well, it's been a good winter. Obviously, the winter's described very short because you do 2 weeks of testing, and that's what people refer to when they talk about the winter. But there's a lot more to it. So all the hard work seems to have, paid off. We will see if that's true. We're here to confirm. But so far the car felt good. I don't think we really know where we are. We expect to be in good shape, but I think it will be very close between the top 3 teams. So yeah, we'll see.
Do you think Mercedes are as far off as they think they are, or at least they're saying they think they are?
No, I don't think so. They look very strong the second week, not just one run, all the runs. I don't know what they were doing the first week, to be honest. They probably could have stayed at home, but yeah, I think they will be very strong, and they will fight for pole, fight for the win this weekend.
Well, it feels amazing. Obviously, as I've said many times, it's a dream come true. I've always waited for this moment. Since child, I've always dreamed to be a Formula 1 driver, and even more with Ferrari. So it feels great. I can't wait to be back in the car tomorrow, and hopefully achieve a good result.
So the team has declared that Sebastian will be the number 1 driver at the beginning of the season. So is it okay for you, or is it the first task to change it as quick as possible?
Well, obviously, I completely understand the decision. As in any team, there needs to be a number 1 and a number 2 in the 50-50 situation. But then also on my side, it's my job then to turn the things around. It's not going to be easy. I have a lot to learn, but I'll push for that.
Now, Mercedes had an interesting pre-season, 2 very different cars for week 1 and week 2 of testing. What I've seen so far today of what they've brought here is different once again from what we saw at week 2 of the test. They know that this year will be possibly one of the biggest challenges they've ever faced in Formula 1. They are, of course, 5-time Formula 1 constructors, easy for me to say, world champions. Lewis Hamilton is a 5-time Formula 1 drivers world champion. Can they make it 6? As I said, it may be the biggest challenge that they've ever faced, but they are up for the challenge.
We've definitely got something that we can work with this year. Whether or not we'll be quickest this weekend, or at the beginning of the year, or who knows, I really have no idea. It might be closer than we think. It might be a bigger gap than we think. We don't know what they've got up their sleeve, but regardless of whatever foot, we're going to make sure we start on the right foot at least, either way, and just keep building on it. Everyone is hungry, you know. The Red Bulls, Max is obviously hungry to win. You've got Sebastian is hungry to change the result from last year and improve on that. Ferrari are hungry, but we're just as hungry. So, you know, it's going to be exciting for sure.
There's a rule change. There's a point for fastest lap in the race itself. Do you like meddling with the rules? I mean, you respect the traditions of Formula One. Will it add something or not? That I mean, if
there's 21 points available, so it'd be interesting to see how that plays out. I think 21 points is a lot, so who utilises them would be interesting to see. I think it'd add some fun to it.
I'm here again to try and be better me this season, trying to do good start to the season. Unlike last year, it was far away from ideal start of the year. So it's gonna be interesting to see how we are compared to Ferrari, compared to Red Bull. So I'm looking forward to it.
One of the biggest questions coming into this 2019 season revolves around that guy there. Max Verstappen is now de facto team leader at Red Bull Racing, but it's not Red Bull Racing as we've known them. They have, of course, a new engine provider in Honda, and pre-season testing looked great. The power unit looked reliable. Really reliable, probably one of, if not the most bulletproof, reliable power unit of the entire winter testing period. Does that translate into drivability? Does that translate into outright pace? Only time will tell, but certainly Max Verstappen will be hoping that it is a step up on what he had for the last few years with Renault, and that it allows him to fight for consistent wins and potentially maybe even a Formula One World Championship. If not this year, then certainly into the future. There's a lot of optimism down here at Red Bull Racing that their new partnership in 2019 will pay dividends.
Well, I'm feeling good and positive, but I guess time will tell, you know, how competitive we are going to be. And even, let's say, if it's not ideal here, it's still a very long season ahead. So, I'm relaxed and we'll see.
Are you expecting this Honda power unit to be competitive from the off, or are you expecting it to kind of start at a certain level and really improve as the year goes on?
Well, it's anyway a step up from last year, so that is very positive. If it's going to be enough yet, I don't know. I guess we'll find out in qualifying, but you know, there are a lot of things coming as well. You know, we're pushing really hard from a chassis side, but also now from the engine side. So I think to have those two combinations working that hard and then together as well, it's just really good.
Every year is very different. We all grow, we all mature every year. How different do you feel coming into this season as opposed to any of the others you've come into Formula One, as you are now pretty much, you know, you're your team leader?
I guess throughout the years, of course, you learn a lot in Formula One, and to be honest, it just makes me feel more and more relaxed about the whole thing. So, like I said, I just want to get racing first of all, and then we'll see where we end up. But as a personal feeling, I'm just feeling relaxed and ready to go.
Yeah, I would say I'm feeling really excited. You know, it's not every day you're gonna start like your first race with a top team like Red Bull. So I expect this weekend to be really special. Going out on track more for my first FP1 with this team. And then just get back to racing. You know, over the winter you miss so much racing, adrenaline, coming to a race, and just the competition itself. So it's finally starting, and that's a great news.
And Red Bull have brought some upgrades this weekend. What are your expectations?
I think, you know, it's a team that is developing the car the whole time and every week pushing it. I think we should have some new parts. The car should improve compared to the last test, and then we'll improve also over the next few races. But no, I think still I'm not feeling as comfortable as I would like in the car, but we are working, trying to find the directions to make it faster and also being able to extract the full potential. And I think this will come, of course, with more experience in that car and with this new aero package. But no, I think that we should have some good performance. But let's see tomorrow already after practice what we can do this weekend.
Now, one of the focal points, not just for this weekend here in Australia, but for the 2019 season, will be the Renault Formula One team, predominantly because of that guy there, Daniel Ricciardo. How is that working out for you, Steve, with the new lens? Pretty tricky. You should see the size of the lens that Steve has got on the camera. It's tricky to get used to, but I bet it looks fabulous. Daniel Ricciardo moves over to Renault for this 2019 season, partnered, of course, with Nico Hülkenberg. Expectations are high that this will not be another year of rebuilding, that the team will be able to start to compete with the likes of the Red Bull Racings. Mercedes and Ferrari, perhaps a step too far, but can they fight for podiums? Is that the expectation? Or has Daniel Ricciardo simply got to realign his thought process, realign his targets for a year and not be looking for wins, not be looking for podiums, but be looking for something completely different?
Hoping to, leave Sunday feeling complete and satisfied. Hoping to pass some people, that'll be fun. And I think in a way I feel as well my duty here is to give the crowd a good race. I hope the other drivers, I hope we all put on a show, and I hope there is some battles and some fights and a bit of maybe confrontation or whatever. But yeah, personally, I want to leave it all out there and have some moments and put the car on the edge and scare myself a few times and hopefully overtake some guys and feel good about it. So that'll make me happy Sunday. Hopefully that means finishing in the points. But I guess feeling exhausted after the 58 laps, knowing I did all I could.
How much have you had to reposition your mind over the winter? You've been so used to fighting for race wins, hoping to come into a season fighting for a world championship, and knowing you're in a team that needs to do rebuilding before it can start fighting for podiums. Has that required a change upstairs?
A little bit, I guess. I don't think it will translate to anything on track. I guess the job as a driver is you get behind the wheel and it's your job, but it's also what you naturally do. You want to drive whatever's in front of you as fast as it can go, or underneath you. So that doesn't change, and I guess the mindset doesn't change. It's just, probably the hunger will be enhanced because I'll know I've won races, so I know I can be there doing it, and I know for now it's probably not going to be there. So the hunger to get there, I think, will be strong, and knowing there's still a lot of room for this team to grow, I really believe that will help, with everyone drive it forward.
I think we're well prepared. I think we've talked about it enough. It's time to go and do the real thing and find out where we stand. At least here this weekend, I always feel Melbourne is quite specific. It doesn't necessarily mean that's where you are for the rest of the season. Things change fast anyway. So just happy that it all starts tomorrow.
You've been in this team for quite a while now. Where do you feel you are in terms of the arc going into the season compared to other seasons as have gone by?
Like I said, we're well prepared. I think year after year we've improved as a team and as operation. Things got better, more professional, more sorted out, and I think the level is good. Again, how good we'll just find out.
Do you have any inkling yet, any idea of whether you will be able to compete for podiums, or is it only going to become clear once we get to qualifying on Saturday where the true level actually lies?
I think so. I think it's a matter of that, wait and see where we are, what the gaps are like. I still believe, it's a tough, task, and not sure we are in a position, to fight for podiums like from our own power. But it's all one speculation right now, so we'll see.
Kimi Raikkonen moves from Ferrari to Alfa Romeo, taking his seat, and alongside Kimi Raikkonen is Antonio Giovinazzi, who of course has made a couple of Formula One starts before, but has said to everybody that this is really what he's looking at as his Formula One debut. The car looks great. There's a very unique design concept on that front wing that we've said over the winter will be very difficult to replicate if it proves to be this silver bullet that some people think it might be. I was talking to team boss Fred Vasseur this morning. He is confident that what they're seeing on track replicates the figures that they've seen on the CFD and in the wind tunnel, and that the developments that they're bringing for the opening races of the year will prove to be huge steps forward in performance for them. There is a vast amount of confidence at Alfa Romeo, not Sauber anymore, Alfa Romeo for the 2019 season. Yeah, they could be dark horses.
Looking ahead to this weekend, 18 years ago you were here making your debut. What does it mean to you for you to be back here in Melbourne?
Not really any difference. Every year is more or less the same. It doesn't matter what team or where you race. The schedule is more or less same with everybody, and it's a great place to come. I think the weather should be nice, so everybody's excited because it's the first race, and I think the people here in Melbourne welcome us very nicely. So it's nice to be back.
And I know you say it's always difficult to read from testing where the pecking order is, but what are your expectations here with Alfa Romeo?
Nothing really. I mean, we try to do the maximum what we can, and hopefully if we get everything out of the car, then we see where we end up. I think we have to, whatever we get from the first race, after that we need to just make the car faster every day and improve it, and I think we have a very good base, but I have no idea where we're going to end up, if we are 5th or 10th, or I think probably it's going to be close between many teams, but yeah, we'll see it over the weekend.
I'm really happy for this, just waiting for 2 long years, but now finally here in Melbourne to drive for my first race in the championship. So looking forward for tomorrow, start everything. Today is a busy day, but just for meetings and media, but finally tomorrow will start my real work.
Once again, the midfield looks really close based on testing. Do you think Alfa are going to be right in the thick of that fight?
I hope so, but we don't know. We need to waiting for sure Saturday, because it's the moment where we can understand where we are on the qualifying. But yeah, we are quite positive. Car, like I said, the testing was positive, good baseline. So we did a lot of work back home in the last week just to improve the car. So yeah, we are confident. All the team is confident. It is the main things.
And the Haas F1 team will not thank us if we remind them of this time 12 months ago and the fact they had the 4th fastest car and it was all looking good in the race until those 2 pit stops. And there have been a lot of questions about that today. Have you been practicing your pit stops? But I kind of thought to ask that would sort of forget about the fact that there was a whole season that happened after Australia last year, and that issue never recurred again. That said, they're still a young team, they're still learning. Was last year in the battle for 4th a false dawn, or is it the level that we expect them to be at this year in 2019? It's a fascinating question, and one that we're going to get an answer to relatively soon. Also, because of the unique way in which Haas operates, because of the unique way in which the team goes about designing and manufacturing its car, can these guys maintain what we expect to be a vast development race throughout this season? Because while everybody else has their autoclaves and is able to manufacture their developments on site at their factories, these guys are reliant on external contractors. So that could be pivotal in their fight of what they hope will be a fight for 4th place. Kevin Magnussen, though, Romain Grosjean, one of only 2 driver lineups along with Mercedes. That remains the same from 2018 into 2019.
You always know that the car that you're going to drive in Melbourne is nowhere near the car that you finished the year with, and if you know what you know in Abu Dhabi coming into Melbourne, probably lap time will be faster, but still, I think we've had good winter testing, a few reliability issues, but I think we've worked well on that, and the car from day one behaved very nicely. So looking forward to come here at the Albert Park. It's one of my favorite circuits of the season. I always enjoyed the atmosphere around Melbourne and the vibes that you get in the paddock, and like getting back to school.
And it seemingly suits Haas most of the time that you come here. Let's forget about the issues with last year. Are you confident of another good showing this weekend?
I'm hoping that we're going to have a good race, a good weekend. It's a long flight back when you have a disappointing race, so let's make it that we can actually celebrate with a glass of champagne on the flight back.
This time last year we arrived here and everyone was very confident that Haas could be around the 4th fastest team in Formula 1. This year it seems it's much harder to know where everybody is. Is that because there's been this regulation change over the winter, or is it because genuinely the midfield has tightened up so much that it's very close to call?
I mean, both options are possible, and I don't know exactly which one is going to come up, but I think Saturday we find out if the midfield is really tight or if there's a packing order, but we haven't really managed to read through it.
Big expectations on the basis of last year and how wonderfully Haas did. Can you possibly hope to live up to those expectations?
Yeah, I'm very hopeful. I mean, excited, and I haven't seen any, negative signs, and I think we're all very positive in the team. So looking forward to going on track and kind of, to get a better idea of where everyone stands. So I think we'll see some of it tomorrow, but the big day is on Saturday.
Do you still see yourselves as the new team, the upstarts, taking it to the more established teams, or having achieved so much success over recent seasons? Do you see this team now as one that has to, firmly establish itself in that upper midfield?
Well, we're still the new team. No one is as close to having the experience that we have, or the lack of experience that we have. So I think it's. I'm still very proud of being, where we are, and proud of the team for being where they are, with, the little time that they've had to build on it. So, hopefully we can continue to build on it this year and make even, another improvement and take another step forward.
What kind of a car have you got underneath you from a baseline? Is it malleable to your driving style? Have you got a solid foundation?
I don't know what malleable.
You can you can bend it. You can shape it around yourself. Malleable sort of means like bendy. You can take that car and really make it yours.
I'm hoping not to bend it too much.
Well, yeah, there is that.
But I think it's a good car, and winter testing was good. I'm happy with the balance. It's a very stable car, stable rear especially, and just hoping that everyone doesn't have that.
Now, of all the teams in Formula One, perhaps the biggest question mark exists over these guys, formerly known as Force India, now known as Sport Pezza Racing Point, or Sport Pezza Racing. Because when the team went into administration 2/3 of the way through last year, they had to make a decision of what they would do for their 2019 car, and they decided to stick ostensibly with what the 2018 car was, homologated for 2019 regulation. So what we saw throughout winter testing was something of a vanilla car. It was not a Franken car, but not their full 2019 car. What they've got here this weekend then for the first time is their full 2019 car. So while some might view it as an upgrade package or a development package, for others it is the first time we will see their 2019 Challenger. So for both Lance Stroll and his teammate Sergio Perez, this will be perhaps the first real day or the first real week of pre-season or season testing for them with what will be their car for the season. Does that put them on the back foot? Perhaps. But it's a new start for a new team. Expectations, you can't say they're high, because until they drive this new car, I don't think anybody really knows where they're going to be.
I am very excited. I'm looking forward. I also want to dedicate my weekend to Charlie, to his family, so I really hope we can do a tremendous weekend here.
Have you seen the car yet? Is it very different from what we've seen?
I haven't seen him. I'm just waiting, because we had a water leak, so we had to unpack the car again. So I'm just waiting. So I think I'm gonna leave very late tonight. I really want to see the new car.
Is it very much a step into the unknown for you guys this season? Everyone else has run their 2019 car, but this will be your first real opportunity to do so.
It will be, yeah. It will be our first weekend where we really try our new car.
Well, everyone's going to show their cards this weekend, so it's it's still early days. Tough to tell who's going to be where. You can get a little taste for it in testing, but you really see everyone's true colors at the first race. So. We believe we got a strong package. That being said, it's just it's always relative to where everyone else is. So at the end of the day, so we'll see where we stand this weekend. But I'm definitely looking forward to kicking off the season.
How different is the car that you'll have from this weekend onwards to that which you drove in testing?
Well, it's a development race all the way to the end of the year. That's the name of the game. So. We're bringing an upgrade here, and we're going to try and make the car quicker every weekend. That's the goal.
With that in mind, do Fridays become kind of test sessions for everybody, even more so than they have been previously?
I mean, Fridays are always it's always about data gathering on a Friday, and and getting everything into place for Saturday and Sunday. That will be the case this weekend and for the remainder of the season.
Finding how you're settling in here. It's your first weekend with a brand new team. It seems like you're having a nice time here. Big smile on your face.
Yeah, no doubt. It's great to be wearing the pink and blue. It's been a good transition, and I'm ready to get the ball rolling.
It's a whole new driver lineup down here at McLaren. Rookie Lando Norris joins Carlos Sainz, who in turn replaced his childhood hero Fernando Alonso. Fernando's still part of the team as a sort of consultant / advisor, may test the car at some point this year. Might he want to come back? That will depend, I think, on how competitive or otherwise that car proves to be. It looked quick in pre-season testing, not bulletproof, but quick with those low fuel glory runs. Time again will tell, but there's a good feeling down here at McLaren that they're in a better position than they have been over recent years. Certainly there appears to be a decent level of confidence between Carlos and Lando that 2019 will be a massive step up from where McLaren have found themselves in recent seasons.
Very happy to be here finally on my first Grand Prix for McLaren after a long wait, since Abu Dhabi test. I've been looking forward to this debut here with the team, and very prepared. I think we've done our homework. We are prepared to go racing, so it's a matter of just get the hours going by and get in the car.
It's always difficult to take a read from testing, but what are your expectations based on what you know going forward?
Expectations are low at the moment in the team. I think we want to keep our expectations very controlled, as you've seen also over the winter. We don't know where we are, but we know we've done our homework. We know we are better prepared than other years without not really knowing the performance. So I think tomorrow after FP2 we will start to know where the car is and what we can do.
Is it a joyful experience of a life's dream coming true, or is it quite daunting?
It's both, but I think obviously the excitement overrides a lot of it. But I still do have in the back of my mind a lot of nerves. I mean, it is daunting thinking of how many people are going to be watching. It's my first proper race, my first race in Formula One. Got the whole team back in Woking and McLaren, who is going to be watching the onboards, watching whatever, all the data, to make sure I'm or supporting me in whatever way they can. And a lot of weight on my shoulders to perform, and it's a job now. I'm not doing it for fun, and to try and achieve my dream, it's much more of a job where I need to perform well and I make everyone happy. So I'm excited though for the whole experience, and I can't wait for the race.
This is a team that is still going through a rebuilding process. How difficult is your job going to be this year? But what kind of a car do you think you've got at your disposal to do that job after what you've discovered over the winter?
It's a difficult one. I think tomorrow we're going to be able to see a bit of a better results page of what we can do as a team. I think we're not looking bad, but at the same time there's still a lot of work to be done on the car. It's not, I can't say we're confident in being top 10 in every session or top 5 or whatever. I think we have a pretty good car in terms of we know where it's at, we know the limitations, the problems, the positives from it, and I know over FP1, FP2, FP3, it's just trying to iron out the problems and making sure we have a good car going into qualifying. But a lot of that's going to be new for me, so I need to make sure we're taking steps forward and making sure we have a good car by qualifying and then for the race. But I'm confident. We have to wait and see, but I can't say too much more.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. Will it be third time lucky for Danny Kvyat, returning to the fold, returning to the team with which he made his Formula One debut? The smile is real, the confidence is back. Danny Kvyat has been away, he's been through the absolute turmoil and personal hell that was getting dropped by Red Bull and then by Toro Rosso. And it's back for another bite of the cherry. I'm looking forward to seeing how he does, but also to this guy. sits under the radar, but I think could be one of the drivers to watch in 2019. Alex Albon was, throughout his karting days and junior Formula career, the driver that the likes of the Lando Norrises and the George Russells and the Charles Leclercs looked up to as the one. The one they aspired to be like, because he was just that great in karting. And he may just have landed with the best seat of his Formula 2 rivals from last year, because while George Russell is at Williams and Lando Norris at McLaren, this Toro Rosso, with a rear end that is from big sister Red Bull Racing, with a Honda engine that looks nigh on bulletproof, and an overall aero concept which has got a lot of tongues wagging in this pit lane, could be on for a good season. Big smiles on both these guys, and with good reason.
It's great to be back here in Melbourne, because I wasn't here in 2018. It's very good to be here, and obviously all our focus is on the race, and we will try to obviously have a clean Friday, and so all the questions really start to be answered tomorrow. Is the first day where we start, putting everything we learned in the winter testing to the practice.
As I said, you have been in this position before. You've been through a winter of pre-season testing, many of them, in fact, to start a season. How well prepared do you feel? How much work has the team done over the winter to get you to this place right now?
I think, I wouldn't call maybe flawless, but it was a very, very good winter testing for us. We really managed to tick most of the boxes, and we come here with a very few question marks. And I think we're able to really focus on our normal weekend work schedule. So it's important. It's very important. That's what the winter testing is for, so that you come here fully prepared, and you don't have to, let's say, waste time for some answering some questions you could have answered in the winter testing.
I think one thing that maybe surprised a lot of people over the winter testing period was how reliable the Honda power unit seemed. If it's reliable, is it also drivable? Are you getting what you want out of it from a power perspective and from a drivability?
Yes, I mean, it's been, like you said, very reliable. That's exactly what you want. That's the thing number one you want in the winter testing, to get as many laps as possible. Then other issues, there were not really many. And then the power-wise, I know that's what you are most interested in, but we will honestly start getting answers here on Friday and mainly on Saturday and Sunday. And to be honest, even Bahrain will answer it more, because there are longer straights. So it's been proving itself as a quite strong package in the winter testing, but how strong we're yet to find out.
First weekend in Formula One, do you feel ready? Do you feel prepared?
As ready as I can be. I feel like the 4 days went as smoothly as they could have done. So in that sense, we got the most out of them days. And coming into Melbourne, there's definitely areas still to find out. But yeah, we'll see. I think this track, it's not easy. We got dirty, huge track evolution, street track, bumpy. It's not like Barcelona where it's nice and smooth and you got them run-off areas where you can kind of play with the car a little bit. So yeah, we'll maybe step it up through the sessions, and we'll see at the end.
You say 4 days, it really doesn't sound like very much to prepare yourself for what you've been dreaming of your whole life. How much expectation is there from you on what this weekend will have in store?
Yeah, on my side, I don't really put pressure. I don't say I want to be here or here. It's more just arrive to FP1, make sure I'm as ready as possible, know all I need to know, make sure I know the steering and the procedures the team want me to do, and then it's kind of just evolving through there. So FP2, what do I need to do from FP1, then FP3 qualifying. That will just in turn kind of give me the result in the race, and I'll see if I'm happy with that or not. But I'm not kind of putting that pressure or expectation on myself. It's more just focus on each session and see how it goes.
Do you keep a diary? And I know it's an odd question to ask, but these days you don't get back again. And obviously, as you say, you're so focused on doing a great job on track and getting everything done properly that you might forget to enjoy it or remember everything that this weekend actually brings.
Oh, I see. Okay, I was going to ask you, like, maybe you know then, but I don't have a diary for that. I have diaries for kind of.
So you don't forget things.
Exactly. Yeah, my short-term memory is terrible, and we joke around it with the engineers, but just literally, exactly for not like today I did this and I span at turn 4 kind of thing, but it's more like just okay, this is how this session went, this is how this did, this is what this change did, and I just kind of go through it to make sure I remembered what kind of the car did or what we did, how it affected the car, and that kind of thing, and then also just notes for this circuit, what I saw from previous races and things like that. Just diaries for like the simulator, for the weekend, that kind of thing.
Now to Williams, a team that has had a tumultuous winter. The car was late. Production delays meant that it didn't arrive at the first test until the penultimate day of that first test. In the second week, spare parts were so low that the drivers couldn't really rack up the mileage that they wanted to on it, because when something broke, there was nothing to replace it. Since that second test, there were questions raised over the future of Paddy Lowe. Paddy Lowe is now on leave from the team. We're not sure exactly what that means or if he will be back, but it doesn't look good. Then it was discovered that parts of the car were not within regulation and had to be redesigned before they arrived here in Australia. It has not been the best of winters. Certainly not the preparation that rookie George Russell or returning superstar Robert Kubica, one of the most incredible stories in sport, would have wanted for their 2019 season. Let us hope the worst is behind them and that from Friday, March the 15th, the sun may shine on the team once again.
It will never be easy. Even if you will be fighting for top positions, probably it will even get more difficult. So when you are racing in Formula 1, it's never easy. You always tend to wish to be more prepared. The fact is we didn't have an easy start of the winter testing. I didn't went through many things which I should go through before coming here. But nevertheless, you cannot change what happened. So we have to make sure, and I have to make sure I do maximum from what we have. And definitely there will be a lot of things to learn, especially in early races. But that's normal. There are a lot of things to discover. Formula 1 has changed a lot in the last 8-9 seasons, and so I will have to be I'm a kind of rookie.
The car was obviously delayed getting to testing, but then that car had to be changed before coming here to Melbourne. Is it a reset back to the beginning for you on Friday?
Well, yeah, the guys in factory and here on track, they did a very good job, and we all are trying to maximize or to put maximum effort in every single moment, which is good. But unfortunately, some delays, some issues. There are, it's not a question of 2 days to solve them. So, but we are in good shape for starting tomorrow, which is good. We'll see, and hopefully it will last for all weekend. Actually, I think the main target and the realistic target is to have a smooth 3 days without issues, so we can concentrate and focus on running full performance car and try to see what we can get out of it.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to my first weekend in Formula 1 here in Melbourne. I think, I've been dreaming of this moment for so long. As you touched on, not being the ideal preparation for my debut season, but it is what it is, and I'm going to make the most of it.
Does it take some of the shine off at all?
No, not really. I think, if anything, it takes a bit of pressure because nobody's expecting anything. Everybody's expecting us to finish last and have a terrible weekend and no car to be there and the wheels to fall off. So, if we complete any laps or put in a performance, then it's going to look great from our side.
Robert and yourself both said that when the car hit a sweet spot on the rare occasion that it did in testing, there was something there that was inherently good. Does that give you some confidence going into this year that actually there is something that you can pull out of this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, last year the car was extremely undrivable for the guys, and whenever they were developing it, they were trying to focus on making it more drivable. But at the moment we have a car which, in Barcelona anyway, felt very nice to drive. So, the guys in the aero department and back at the factory can just focus on putting more downforce on the car, and we can go from there. But it's a long season. It's been a rocky start, but we've got good foundations, I think, to build on.
So that's your lot from Paddock Pass for this, the opening race of the 2019 Formula One season. But of course, this weekend we'll be thinking of Charlie's family, friends and his colleagues.